Championship Motorcycle Grand Prix after the inaugural event in 1990. Michael Doohan was the winner of that race, but he was missing this return trip to Hungary. Budapest is the commercial and cultural centre of Hungary and straddles the famous Danube River, which is the central focus of this metropolis which, until 1873, was split between two cities, Buda on the right bank of the Danube and Pest on the other. The cultural heritage of Budapest's beautiful buildings extends back to the early 1900s, and this enchanting city was once known as the Paris of the East. Budapest means much to the life of the Hungarian people, who warmly welcomed the World Championship teams to their cosmopolitan city and the Hungaroring track. After a 2-week holiday to rest his injured left hand, Wayne Rainey was back, and in Michael Doohan's absence, the Marlborough Yamaha rider knew this was an opportunity to make a run at the championship. And after an astonishing recovery from his Assen accident, Kevin Schwantz turned up to ride his Suzuki with a lightweight cast protecting the plate in his broken left arm. Sole representative for the Rothmans Honda team in the 500 class was battle-scarred Australian Wayne Gardner, who also missed the Dutch TT. In the 125 class, hard-riding German Ralph Waldman was out to protect his points lead after a frustrating spell of mechanical problems that had seen Ezio Gianola close the gap to just 5 points. In the 250 class, Luca Catalora held a 53-point lead, but he was eager for victory, not having won a race for 6 weeks. And in Friday's 125 qualifying session, it was Gianola on the Semprucci Honda who set the pace, claiming provisional pole position just 7 100ths ahead of Waldman's Marlborough Honda. Wet weather made conditions uncertain for 250 qualifying, but Germany's Jochen Schmidt timed his change from wet to intermediate tyres perfectly to set the fastest time on his privateer Yamaha.
It was for sure a little bit risky to do this lap time, but my team worked pretty good and they gave me a sign to come in and change the bike, which was fitted with intermediates, and I think it was just in the right moment, and I was out with the best tyres.
Alberto Puig was in his wet weather gear just 0.2 of a second slower than Schmidt on a track that did not allow the Aprilia riders maximum use of their horsepower advantage. Pushing hard as always was Max Biaggi, the Italian youngster who has been the find of the 1992 championship season with the Telcor Aprilia team. Biaggi looked spectacular in the wet, but he was never happy with his chassis set up in final qualifying, and he was to drop to 9th on the grid. The 500 class has become a real technical battlefield, and the Suzuki team were the first to follow Honda with a revised firing order for their V4 two-stroke. Doug Chandler claimed Friday's fastest time. It came right at the end of the session, which started wet but finished dry, just as Chandler changed to slick tyres. On Saturday, he confirmed his first ever pole position. Feeling less than comfortable aboard the Rothmans Honda was Wayne Gardner, with a stiff neck and pain from a cracked rib, sustained when he crashed in qualifying for the Dutch TT. Still, Gardner was quickly on the pace, although worried about some of the mid-corner bumps on the Hungaroring. With Friday's second fastest time, less than half a second behind Chandler, Gardner was happy enough with his quick return to form and aiming to keep his place on the front row.
Yeah, I am pleasantly surprised, but I don't think it says too much at the moment because, as you say, there were tricky conditions. It was just following the dry line around, and if you went off that, just had to be really careful. The track is quite slippery in the dry, let alone wet, and it does make it difficult to pick a right line. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the result. My back's stiff. I only found out this morning that I suspected I fractured my rib in my back, and he confirmed it this morning. We couldn't see on an X-ray, but he said that there's probably a small crack in one of my ribs, and it's quite painful. But we did some therapy this morning, and it was much better the second time out. So. I'm hoping that by Sunday hopefully it'll improve a lot and I should be back up there with him.
Defending world champion Wayne Rainey arrived in Hungary 65 points behind leader Mick Doohan and eager to catch up points after aggravating an old hand injury. And the Marlboro Yamaha team had a revised engine specification with a new cylinder firing order with which to combat the advances made by Honda, Cagiva and Suzuki. Unfortunately, Friday's wet track conditions made it difficult for Rainey to assess the benefits of the new motor, although he was third fastest, behind Chandler and Gardner and ahead of the Cagivas of Lawson and Barris.
It's really hard to say at the moment because it feels so much different. The gearbox is much different in it, or needs to be much different. The way that you can open the throttle is a lot different. The way the suspension works it's changed the bike completely around, but I don't know if it's better or not yet because it doesn't feel real close yet.
A bit late in the season too, isn't it, really?
Yeah, very late.
And what could be going through the mind of team boss Kenny Roberts after a frustrating season of searching for the answers that would allow Yamaha to match the performance of the factory Hondas? Down to final qualifying and the sun had returned to Budapest. For the 125 grid, there was a stunning effort from Alessandro Gramini to secure pole position. On Friday, Gramini's Aprilia was only 13th fastest, but the form of the tough little Italian suggested he was going to be the man to beat in the Grand Prix as he raced clear of his Honda opposition. But Gianola was not giving in without a fight, and he carved his way past Olivia Petrani and slipstream Fausto Grassini on his way to second on the grid. The top 11 riders were separated by less than a second, with Rollman unconcerned about his 8th fastest time.
Oh, I'm not worried. Maybe a little bit, but you can see the times are very close, and we go in this practice for a long distance. I go for a long distance because we want to find a race tire who holds this distance for the race, and I'm not so bad that I'm on the 8 on the grid.
After being 6th fastest on Friday, Luca Catalora stamped his authority on final qualifying with pole position on the Rothmans Honda for the 250 Grand Prix. Catalora was confident of his race chances.
We had very good practice this afternoon, and we try hard, but still we find some very good settings for the machine and suspension. Tire also is working good. Just engine is not very good, but on the circuit we have some chance for tomorrow because top speed is not so important on this track. Basically we have good chance to win tomorrow.
It was a Honda 1-2 with Spanish rider Carlos Cardus also outrunning his Aprilia rivals. While the speed was there, Cardus's body was not up to the demands of Grand Prix racing, and he would be a non-starter in the race on Sunday. The Aprilia of Loris Reggiani was third on the grid, but the Italian was not at all confident of staying with Catalora in the race. There is no long straight here where the Aprilia riders can gain a slipstream. Venezuelan veteran Carlos Lovato survived a heavy fall in practice to use all of the experience that has brought him 2 World Championships to secure a front row start for Gilera in their first season back in Grand Prix racing. Teammate Jean-Philippe Rougier was 10th. For the dry track, the final 500 session was to provide a better form guide for the race, and it was a tight final battle for pole position. Gardner's Honda had some new engine parts for this race, although more horsepower was not necessarily a benefit on this twisting track, which has many second and third gear corners. With his teammate Nick Doohan and Yamaha privateer Peter Goddard out, Gardner was the only Australian in the field. He conceded that he was not yet fit enough to win a Grand Prix, but felt a place on the podium was a possibility as he battled his bucking Honda for 4th fastest time. And despite his impressive 3rd fastest qualifying time on the Marlboro Yamaha, John Kaczynski was not a happy man. Unable to find a chassis set up with the new YZR engine that would make his bike as fast as he would like.
It's kind of frustrating at this point. You know, we've changed just about everything on the bike, and just every race we seem to end up at the same point. And basically, I'm only going to do as good as my bike is, and you know, I'm not going to override it and end up in the hospital. So, like I say, it's just I sure wish I could do better.
Until the dying moments of qualifying, Rainey had pole position, eventually beaten by just 1/10 of a second by Chandler. Rainey had persevered with Yamaha's new motor and found improvements each time he went out. Rainey felt that Chandler, Kaczynski and Gardner were going to be tough to beat, but as Chandler and Randy Mamola chatted after qualifying, Little could they know the role they would both play in the race. For his view of the 3.9 kilometre track, here is Wayne Gardner.
Coming onto the main straight in second of Hungaroring for a flying lap, up to fifth, only use fifth because it's such a short straight, and of course hard braking at the bridge, Marlborough Bridge there, down to second, but you've got to go in there fairly early to keep a nice tight line here. It's very important not to drift too wide because you're not going to be able to get the drive off the corner. Accelerating hard in second, over revving, holding second still, hard braking, very bumpy into this corner, you can see the machine moving. Try and keep it as tight as possible for the exit because you don't want to drift too wide for this third gear corner left, right there. Accelerating fourth, fifth, down the back straight. It's quite a fast section. Back to third for this fast left. And of course you drift wide, not too wide. Accelerating third, back to second. Again, try and not get in too late. You've got to get in fairly early. Hold a tight line. Holding second, driving really hard in second. And some machine spinning and then up to third. You see braking there, the machine gets a little bit out of control. Back to first for the chicane, accelerating first, second, and of course now on second for all the next 3 or 4 rights and lefts. Second. Be careful not to drift too wide because otherwise you're going to screw up your next corner. So holding second, up to third for the fast left. Now for the right, still third, accelerating up third again still. Now hard braking back to second, very difficult chicane, and you flick it up to third straight away out of there because you've got to over rev the machine down to this hairpin here and back to first gear. Accelerating out of here really hard in first and up to second. The bike spins and jumps around a little bit, holding second now into the last corner, and of course back onto the main straight where you're spinning and sliding the machine and getting out of control again. But the bike's really good here, working well, and hopefully it'll be a good result.
Italian Alessandro Gramini in pole position. Alongside him, Ezio Gianola, really on a roll at the moment. 3 Grand Prix victories out of the last 4 Grand Prix. Nobuyuki Wakai alongside him, and completing the front row of the grid, Takao Shimizu. They wait for the red flag to be taken away. We're on the green. All eyes now turn to the lights. From red to green, and the Hungarian Grand Prix will be underway, and they start. A great start there by number 10, that's Wakai, as they race down towards the first right-hander. Up the inside also is Waldman, Rossini also going well. Round the right-hander they go. Everybody safely through. But already problems here for Carlos Giro, the Spaniard riding the Aprilia. No such problems for the leaders, they're on their first lap. And it's Gianola who leads. In second place, Rossini. So 2 Hondas, the Templucci Honda, the Paleri Honda, lead the way. This is Gianola. In tremendous form at the moment. Rossini in second place. Number 15, Casanova third. The pack streams through. The 2 Hondas lead the way against the Aprilia onslaught. And Gianola is opening up a slight gap. In fourth place, we have Gramini. And this is Giro at the back of the field, trying now to make up for that poor start after not firing off the line on the Aprilia. Back at the front, Gianola leads. He's won 3 out of the last 4 Grand Prix. He currently lies in second place in the championship behind Waldman. He is opening up a gap. Looks like Rossini in second place, Casanova third, and Gramini coming up the inside. Down the main straight, they break for the right-hander, and it is Gramini now up into third place, side by side, the 2 Aprilias. We look for Waldman, making up a game for a poor start, still leading the championship. This is the battle for second. Rossini, Gramini, and there is Waldman alongside Casanova. Waldman being pushed back by Casanova. Debbia also in there. So another tremendous 125cc battle. Gino opening up a bit of a gap, and this is for second place. It's Rossini, Gramini, Aprilia versus Honda, and look at Gramini trying to go around the outside of Fausto Rossini. Has he got through? He certainly has. No, he hasn't. And Bruno Casanova very close, as is Ralph Waldman and Debbia. This is the battle for second place. What a race it is. Wakai also in there. That's the gap. Gianola leads. Oh, Waldman goes wide, kicks up the dust. In second place, Rossini. Third place, Gramini. A tremendous battle for fourth spot between Waldman, Debbia and Casanova. and it's Debbia that steals the advantage. So Debbia now up into 4th place. Waldman relegated to 5th. Fausto Grassini, 2 times world champion, in 2nd place. What a battle this is. Don't forget Ezio Gianola riding the Saprucci Honda is out in front, and there's the gap. Grassini, Bruno Casanova just behind him. Then Guramini, Debbia, Waldman, Wakai, Ezio Gianola really pulling away. That's unusual in a 125cc race this season, but more than making up for it. It's the excitement in 2nd place, and look at the 2 Aprilias. One on the inside, one on the outside, but Grassini holds firm. That's Casanova trying to go around the outside. Guramini on the inside. The 2 Aprilias are climbing all over Grassini's Honda, but he's still holding firm. Gianola leads. Grassini still in 2nd place. Casanova. We have Guramini. And at the back of the field there, that's number 35. That's Baudier. Grassini. Casanova. Guramini. Debbia. Waldman. Vital World Championship points at stake as they race down the main straight. Pit board so important at this stage. Casanova getting a sign there, but Grassini leads Casanova. Still the race for 2nd place. Casanova 3rd, Guramini 4th. Debbia 5th, Waldman 6th, Wakai 7th. And Waldman really now looking for such important World Championship points. He's gone up the outside now of Guramini, catches him by surprise. So Waldman up past Guramini, Guramini having nothing of it, he's fighting back. Typical 125cc racing. Oh, and Carlos Giro, what a disappointing race for the Spaniard. A dreadful start, trying to make up time, and down he goes. He should be okay as he goes feet first into the gravel trap. The Aprilia throws it away. Still the battle rages. And Gianola now in the lead, coming under real pressure from Ralph Waldman. So this is the battle for the lead. Waldman has pulled away from the pack. Gianola leads, Ralph Waldman in 2nd place. And really this could also be a battle for the championship, because Waldman leads Gianola in the championship by 5 points. So such an important win for either of these riders. Gianola leads. As I said, he's won 3 out of the last 4 Grand Prix. Waldman been a little off song of recent weeks, but certainly back on song. Lead the way. Gianola leads. Waldman in 2nd place. Looks like Guramini in 3rd place on the Aprilia. But now all eyes focus on the battle for the lead rather than that battle for 2nd place. And Waldman has made up tremendous distance on Gianola, and now he's shoving the front wheel alongside him, letting him know he's there. Waldman won those opening 2 Grand Prix in Japan and Australia. Really did appear he was going to run away with the championship for the Aprilias, and this man on the Honda, I'm sure he won't mind me calling him a veteran. Gianola had something to say. And Guramini is also closing, as is Fausto Grassini, also on the Honda. So this is becoming a typical 125cc battle. Wakai and Debbia also involved. It's a 6-way battle for the lead. Gianola still leads. Waldman 2nd. Guramini looking very threatening indeed in 3rd place. Then a small cap. Grassini, Debbia, Wakai. This is the place to overtake, and Waldman's going to have a go up the inside. As Waldman got the lead, they almost touched going in. Waldman leads. Gianola 2nd. Guramini 3rd. Guramini now has gone up into 2nd place. So poor old Gianola, who led for so long, relegated to 3rd. Ralph Waldman leads, the championship leader, back in front. Oh, not such good news for his countryman Oliver Koch. He falls from his bike, but he is perfectly okay. And Guramini in the lead, Waldman 2nd. It really is heating up at the front. Guramini now leads. Alexandro Guramini broke his leg in a road bike accident. Only got back in the saddle a month and a half ago. Showing no ill effects at the moment. Guramini leads on the Aprilia. The Hondas of Waldman and Grassini now up into 2nd place, chase hard after him. 2 Italians versus a German. The Aprilia still leads the way. Guramini leads, Waldman in 2nd place, Grassini in 3rd. And Alexandro Guramini, is he going to complete this marvellous comeback following that road bike accident that broke his leg? Wakai also looking threatening now in 4th place. 4 riders surely with a chance of winning this race, but Gramini looks very, very determined at the front. And Waldman won't be too disappointed if he doesn't win this one, although he's having a mighty go up the inside. With Gianola behind him, Waldman will increase his lead in the World Championship. Waldman still trying to snatch the lead. He's going around the outside. Has he now got the inside advantage? No, he hasn't. Gramini closes the door on him. Up towards the last right-hander they come. It may be a sparse crowd, but what a great race for them. Gramini's going to win. Gramini wins. Waldman in second place. Rossini third. Wakai fourth. Second Grand Prix victory of the season for Alexandra Gramini.
World Championship positions: Ralph Waldman on top with 101 points, then Grassini on 88, Gramini 87, followed by Gianola and Casanova.
Vital 9th round of the World 500cc Championship. In pole position, Doug Chandler riding the Lucky Strike Suzuki. Alongside him, second fastest, world champion Wayne Rainey, back in action after missing the previous round at the Dutch TT. Worrying times for the riders with dark clouds threatening. Kenny Roberts, as always, looks up at the heavens. John Kaczynski, Rainey's teammate, he's qualified third fastest. And fourth fastest, another man on the comeback trail, Australian Wayne Gardner. And this man has amazed everybody. He's qualified fifth fastest. It's Kevin Schwantz, who just 15 days ago suffered that accident at the Dutch TT at Assen. Juan Garriga, the Spaniard. Eddie Lawson, 34 years old, riding the Italian Cagiva. 30 Grand Prix victories already to his credit. And as you can see, the weather on the grid, not good. Alexandre Barros, the young Brazilian who rode so well in the previous round in Holland. All eyes now turn to the lights and also to the weather. It's starting to rain heavily as the 500cc race is about to get underway. Get underway it does, but how long will it last? And Kaczynski leads the way. John Kaczynski leads into the first right-hander. Barros and Lawson also well placed, but the weather conditions do not look good. Kaczynski leads, Chandler in second place, Barros third, Wayne Gardner there just behind Kevin Schwantz, number 34. The two riders back from injury. And behind those two, the world champion Wayne Rainey. Conditions not good for these 500cc machines. All the riders on slick tyres. This is Kaczynski. Kaczynski leads, Chandler second, Barros third. Kaczynski seeking his first 500cc Grand Prix victory of the season. Chandler seeking his first ever 500cc Grand Prix victory. Wayne Gardner looks behind him. And I have a feeling that riders are not happy with these conditions. A couple of riders have looked behind. Chandler now beginning to put some pressure on Kaczynski at the front. Kaczynski still holds the advantage. Barros third, Schwantz fourth, Rainey fifth, Gardner sixth. Hand goes up, Rainey's hand is up. The race has been stopped, surely because of the rain. Yes, the red flag. So the 500cc race has been stopped halfway through the first lap. There'll now be half an hour delay. The race will be rerun over its full 30 laps. Obviously a sensible decision, with the rain now pouring down at the Hungaroring. Schwantz comes back. Rainey. Randy Momola, number 8 on the Budweiser Yamaha. Number 6 is Juan Garriga. Nervous times for the likes of Rainey, Schwantz and Gardner, back from injury. Race director discusses the situation with Kenny Roberts, team manager for the Mora Yamaha team. Serge Rosset also there. So the outcome is 30 laps in the rerun. It's a wet race, so it will not be stopped for weather conditions. Riders want to change tyres. They're coming to the pits. We're underway. And a great start by Eddie Lawson from the second row of the grid on the Kajiva. Lawson leads the way. Rainey second, Swant's going up the inside, and Swant's into second place. Lawson, Swant, Rainey, Randy Mamola also going well. Hard times for 500cc riders in these conditions. Who's taking a gamble on the tyres? Mamola leads the way. Most of these riders surely on full wet tyres. Lawson second, Swant third, Rainey fourth. Swant's putting Lawson under some sort of pressure already. Mamola leads, Swant's in second place. Mamola making a welcome return to Grand Prix racing. Won his first Grand Prix way back in 1980. 4 times runner-up in the World Championship. Missed the whole season last year, but delighted to be back. And the crowd throughout the world delighted to see him back. One of the great showmen of Grand Prix racing. Swant second, Rainey third, Chandler, Lawson, Goriga, Kaczynski, Ballos, Wayne Gardner making up for that bad start. The conditions, as you can see, treacherous for 500cc machines. Mamola, Swant, Rainey, Chandler, Goriga, Lawson. There's Gardner, number 5, and Mamola is opening up a gap. What a victory this would be for the Californian veteran. The question is, who's made the choice of tyres? Because if the track does dry out, there will be an advantage for riders who have chosen to use intermediate tyres. Most of these top riders, though, on wet tyres, and who can blame them in these conditions? 7 is Lawson, 4 is Kaczynski. And still Swant holds off Rainey in the battle for second place. 15 days ago, Kevin Swant broke his left arm, dislocated his hip in that crash in the Dutch TT. He's back in action, he's lying second. Wayne Rainey, he also missed the Dutch TT with a hand injury following his practice crash in Germany. Rainey goes up the inside of Swant. Has he got through? Yes, he has. Wayne Rainey now up into second place, and of course, both these riders desperate for championship points, with Michael Doohan, the Australian who leads the championship by 53 points, in Italy at Dr. Costa's clinic, still recuperating from that broken right leg he sustained at the Dutch TT. Vital times for number 1, Wayne Rainey, and number 34, Kevin Swant. Rainey second, Swant third. And Mamola is opening up a slight advantage. What a surprise this would be. What a popular victory. This is Rainey, world champion in 1990, 1991. He's won 1 Grand Prix so far this season, the European in Barcelona. But he missed the Dutch TT when championship points were at stake with a hand injury after practicing in Germany at Hockenheim. Rainey number 1 in second place. Testing out the conditions. It's still wet out there, but it has stopped raining, and perhaps the track may start drying, and then we really will see some fun and games for the riders using wet tyres. Totally unsuited to the conditions they will be then. At the moment they really are suited to the conditions, and Rainey now pulling away from Swant and pulling back the advantage of Mamola at the front. Mamola riding a 1991 500cc Yamaha, the Budweiser colours. Rainey second, Swant third. That's the gap, and I'd certainly think Rainey is closing. And it's still very, very wet out there indeed. And Doug Chandler, who's qualified fastest in the wet conditions and in the dry conditions, looking threatening now in 4th place. Rainey currently second. Mamola in the lead. That's the gap up towards the right-hander, towards the start and finish. Randy Mamola, 4 times runner-up in the World Championship. Certainly one of the most popular riders of the 80s. Mamola flashes across the line. Rainey in second place. A good battle now for 3rd place between the 2 Lucky Strike Suzukis of Chandler and Swant. And surely Chandler will get the better of Swant, because Swant must be suffering from those injuries. And he has. Chandler now up into 3rd place. Swant's relegated to 4th. 10 is Chandler. 34 is Swant. Swant won Grand Prix victory to his credit this season at Mugello in Italy. Chandler, a rear end wiggle then, still chasing his first ever Grand Prix victory. Chandler, as he showed us in that opening Grand Prix of the season in Japan, a demon in the wet. He could be the man to watch, but the man to watch at the moment, Randy Mamola, won his first Grand Prix way, way back in 1980. Could he be repeating that victory? Rainey in second place, number 1. Then a big gap. The 2 Suzukis about to arrive. Chandler, Swant, another gap. Goriga, Kaczynski, a disappointment really for Kaczynski. He went off the track, in fact, in that first race, into the gravel trap. Probably detuned him a little bit. And Eddie Lawson on the Kajiva. Well, 30 Grand Prix victories to his credit. It's in his last season of Grand Prix racing. We have a faller. It's Michael Rudroff, the German, riding the Yamaha, but back into the race. He couldn't do that a lot quicker, could he? Rudroff back. This is Momola. Rainey. And Chandler is the man to watch, the former USA Superbike champion in his second full season of Grand Prix racing, his first full season with the Lucky Strike Suzuki team. And Doug Chandler is beginning to threaten in third place. Momola still leads. Gets down behind the screen. Just has time to look at his pit board. And it's 1.4 seconds, the gap between Randy Momola in the lead and Wayne Rainey in second place. Doug Chandler third. Momola number 8. Rainey coming under increasing pressure now from Chandler. Rainey, he trails Michael Doohan by 65 points in the championship. Really nothing more than a victory this afternoon is going to give him any glimmer of hope of retaining his title for the third year in succession. Rainey number 1, Chandler number 10. Two Californians battling it out in the Hungarian rain. Chandler close enough now, surely, to start to threaten Rainey's second place. A little look up the inside. The sides against it, the track's still very slippery, although as you can see it has stopped raining. All these riders on wet tyres, all these leading riders, and if it does dry out, that's going to make life very difficult indeed. Rainey's still holding off. And this is Kevin Mitchell, the British rider. Problems for him in the pits, number 26. Is he taking off his helmet? It looks like it is. So poor old Kevin Mitchell scored his first points of the season at the Dutch TT 2 weeks ago. The race is over for him. Tank off, obviously a serious mechanical problem. Chandler makes his move up the inside of Rainey. And really no contest as they break for the right-hander at the end of the straight. Doug Chandler now up into second place. Wayne Rainey relegated to third. And Wayne Gardner in the pits. Looks like a tyre change for the 87 world champion. It is a tyre change. He's back into the race. That to me indicates that the track is beginning to dry out. And riders with wet tyres are having problems. Momola leads. Chandler closing all the time. And look, yes, the track is beginning to dry. Chandler now chasing hard after Momola. A little bit confusing because Gardner's just in front of them. He, in fact, is a lap behind. That's Gardner. This is the battle for the lead. Momola leads. Chandler closing now. And Wayne Gardner back in the race. Changed his tyres. That's Momola behind him. So Momola going round the outside of Gardner. Chandler following. Gardner letting them through. And Momola's lead now becoming under real pressure from Doug Chandler. Chandler at the moment still trying to get past Wayne Gardner. He's through. Gardner a lap down after changing his tyres. And this is Eddie Lawson. And Lawson now is beginning to make a charge through the field. And Lawson, we learned from the start line, in fact, is on cut slick tyres. So if the track does begin to dry out, the 34-year-old veteran has taken a brave gamble, but he could start really giving the people at the front a problem. Although, as you can see from that shot, it's still very wet out there as Chandler makes his inevitable progress on Randy Momola. And one would think this is exactly where Chandler is going to get past Momola, surely up the inside. Exactly the same place as he overtook Wayne Rainey a couple of laps ago. And Doug Chandler leads, Randy Momola relegated to second place. But this race, the result of this race could hinge on the state of that track out there. And as you can see, it's still very wet in places, but a dry line is appearing in other places. And Lawson is taking full advantage of this. Eddie Lawson is flying, and there's the dry line. Lawson is now up into third place. And a bit of sunshine now to help the Californian on his way. This is Lawson. His last season of Grand Prix racing. 30 Grand Prix victories to his credit. 4 world titles, and his teammate Alexander Barros follows his example. The only problem he has to come into the pits to change his tyres. Lawson took the gamble from the start, and the gamble now could be paying off. And Chandler now getting the signs that Eddie Lawson is on the charge. Lawson up behind Kevin Schwantz. This is the battle for 4th place. These two, of course, had a coming together at the TT 15 days ago when they collided, contesting the lead. Little gap there for Lawson as he got through. Yes, he has. Kevin Schwantz can do nothing about it now. Eddie Lawson is up into 4th place, chasing the 3 men in front of him. Wayne Rainey, Randy Momola, and the leader, Doug Chandler. And can Lawson do it? He's way off the pace at the moment, but he's catching up seconds each lap as the track dries out. What a famous victory it would be. Kajiva still seeking their first ever 500cc Grand Prix victory. And Eddie Lawson in his last season of Grand Prix racing, looking to get back on the victory roster. Lawson number 7. You can see that he's pulling away from Schwantz, and the track, without a shadow of doubt, is now drying out. The sun's coming out, and the new surface here at the Hungaroring drying rapidly, and it's helping this man, 34-year-old Eddie Lawson, on the charge. Well, a race that was seemingly settling into a regular pattern, now thrown into total disarray, and it's this man that's doing it. And Alex Crevier, the man who won the previous round, back into the pits, and there we go. He brings one bike in and goes out on another. One would think that may cause a problem later on. This man may have a problem later on. This is Doug Chandler. Leads the race on the Suzuki. Behind him is Wayne Gardner on the Rothmans Honda. The Gardner, in fact, a lap down after coming in to change tyres. But Gardner now on the tyres of his choice really is going very well indeed. In fact, he's going to get past Chandler. I'm sure Chandler, from his pit board, must realise that Gardner is a lap down. This is Gardner, number 5, the 87 world champion. Had a record season through injuries. Leads Doug Chandler, but a lap down. And now Lawson closes up on Rainey in 3rd place. And this seems just inevitable that he's going to get past him, and he has. Lawson now up into 3rd. Rainey can do nothing about it in 4th. The track really is drying now, and Lawson, who took the gamble with tyres at the start of this 30-lap race, well, who knows? Can he win it? He led the race into the first corner and then almost went backwards on the tyres in the rain. And now it's dried out. Who knows? What a popular victory it would be. Lawson, number 7, riding the Italian Cagiva, the all-red Cagiva. Momola in 2nd place. Surely now he's going to be the next victim for the flying Lawson. This is Momola. We wait for Lawson to come into shot, and there he is. Back marker in front of Lawson. Eddie Laycock, the Irish rider. Number 7, Eddie Lawson has Momola in his sights. He has 2nd place here in Hungary in his sights. A long right-hander that leads to the start and finish straight. That's Momola, Laycock, and Lawson. Lawson's surely going to go up the inside of Laycock. He does exactly that. Breaks for the right-hander. Lawson past Laycock, and he's got Momola firmly in his sight. Chandler leads. Momola 2nd. Lawson 3rd. Randy Momola number 8. Eddie Lawson number 7. Two real sparring partners in California. Momola, of course, did ride for the Italian Cagiva concern. Gave them their first ever rostrum position. The Belgian Grand Prix at Spa in the pouring rain. But Lawson just closes visibly on him. And Chandler, well, is his lead going to be threatened? He must be thinking about his first ever Grand Prix victory. But a certain veteran behind him, he swishes past Randy Momola on the inside. And listen to the crowd. Well, it seemed absolutely unbelievable. Totally incomprehensible that Eddie Lawson had any chance of winning this race. And another rider in the pits is Scotsman Neil Mackenzie, also changing tyres. Will Chandler come in to change tyres? One would think not. Looks like Miguel de Hamel behind him, who's been lapped. We wait for Eddie Lawson to arrive, and this is Lawson. Surely Lawson can't make up that sort of difference, even in these dry conditions. And I'm equally sure Chandler knows from his pit board that Lawson is closing second by second every lap. Kenzie back in the race. Chandler. And Lawson is close enough now with just 3 laps remaining to make a challenge for the lead. What a ride by the 34-year-old veteran. 4 times world champion, 30 Grand Prix victories to his credit. Is this going to be Grand Prix victory number 31? And is it going to be the first ever Grand Prix win for the Italian Godiva factory? Closing all the time. It's almost inevitable he's going to go past him, and he has gone past him. Lawson leads, there's nothing Chandler can do. Well, what a ride by Eddie Lawson. What a day for the Italian Godiva factory. What a great day also for 500cc Grand Prix racing. An Italian bike en route to victory. Conjures up memories of MV Agusta and Gilera. A European factory leading a 500cc Grand Prix. And well, Lawson just storms past Chandler, and there's nothing the Lucky Strike Suzuki man can do about it. Lawson took a gamble with the tyres. It's a gamble with 2.5 laps remaining, but surely is going to pay off. Eddie Lawson. 5 more Grand Prix left for this veteran of Grand Prix motorcycle racing. How he'd like to go out with a win. Or he retires to his house by the lake in California. 4 times he's won the world title, 3 times for Yamaha, once for the Rothmans Honda team. But I have a feeling if he wins this race, it would be the most satisfying Grand Prix victory of an illustrious career. Eddie Lawson en route now, surely, to winning the Hungarian 500cc Grand Prix. He lifts the front wheel of the Godiva as he crosses the line, and Eddie Lawson has done it! Giacomo Agostini, the Godiva team manager, somewhere in there. No wonder they're celebrating. They've poured millions and millions of pounds into beating the Japanese, and they have done it. Godiva have won a Grand Prix at last. So Lawson wins, Chandler second, Mamola third, and Kevin Schwant in 4th place.
Official placings in Hungary: Lawson first, then Chandler, Mamola third, Schwantz fourth, and Wayne Rainey in 5th place on the Yamaha. In the championship, Doohan is still on top with 130, then Schwantz on 87, Rainey 73, Chandler 72, and Kaczynski 55. And deserving podium celebrations for Eddie Lawson and Randy Mamola joining in to give Giacomo Agostini, the team manager, a champagne bath on the occasion of Godiva's first 500 victory.
At first it was so wet and the carbon brakes wouldn't work. So I just thought, well, this is it. And I was hoping it'd dry out and I could move up, but I had no idea that it would actually get a dry line. I think God decided this one, but I want to thank the Dunlop guys and, of course, all the guys at Godiva. They made the decision, and I said, hey, let's take the gamble and let's go for it, and here we are. I was just along for the ride. I can't believe it.